Black light. The motivator. Black light, your motivator. Time to rise and shine. I'm so thankful that I woke up on time and Allah gave me back my right mind. From the land of Nod to the kingdom of God. You got the kind of flavor that will save you and the kind of knowledge you won't get in college. It's that time to take control of your own mind and your own soul. Mind, body, and soul. Where does we connect, still connecting the dots? I'm so thankful for my subs to give me the inspiration, knowing I got an audience, to break down my view. 72-year-old brother. Fear no one, and I want to save the ones that's coming up behind me and make them strong so they can last long. This dude here is Oliver North. We want to ask you, where does cocaine, who grows cocaine? Crack comes from cocaine, you know. Also, you know, you got different medicine, Novocaine, whatever. So I want all the gangs to pay attention. They like to sell dope to their own people. All right? Pay attention, y'all.
The Iran-Contra affair. In the early 1980s, the U.S. was still in a Cold War with Russia, and anti-communist sentiment was strong. During his presidential campaign, Reagan promised to assist anti-communist insurgencies around the world. For a brief time under Reagan, the CIA trained and assisted groups fighting communist leaders abroad. Reagan was particularly interested in a group called the Contras and their battle in Nicaragua. The Contras were a group battling the Cuban-backed Sandinistas, a communist group who had seized power in 1979. Reagan called the Contras the moral equivalent of our founding fathers. But much of the Contras' funding came from the cocaine trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Bolin Amendment, specifically aimed at keeping American money from funding the group. That happened in 1982, shortly after Reagan took office. The amendment restricted the CIA and Department of Defense from using funds to provide military assistance to groups that were trying to overthrow Nicaragua's government, groups like the Contras. This didn't stop Reagan. The president told his national security advisor, Robert McFarlane, to help the Contras anyway, regardless of the cost. McFarlane found opportunity in Iran. In 1985, an Iranian-backed terrorist group held 7 American hostages in Lebanon. Reagan insisted his advisors find a way to bring the hostages home, saying, "I want you to do whatever you have to do to help these people keep body and soul together." So with permission from Reagan, McFarlane made a deal. The U.S. would give Iran weapons, and Iran would broker the release of the hostages. This happened even though Reagan publicly insisted he would not negotiate with terrorists, and despite the fact that there was a trade embargo with Iran. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The deal with Iran didn't just secretly secure the release of the hostages in exchange for weapons. There was money involved. While $30 million had been allocated for the weapons, the CIA funneled a portion of that money to the Contras in Nicaragua, the group Reagan supported in their guerrilla fight against the Sandinista government. In 1986, the Lebanese newspaper Al-Shara reported the arms deal, and everything began to unravel. That prompted an investigation by the U.S. Attorney General, who discovered that only $12 million of the $30 million actually went toward weapons for Iran. The rest of the money was sent to the Contras in Nicaragua. allegations were explosive. Reagan denied the allegations that he had negotiated with terrorists. But Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North came forward and acknowledged that he diverted funds to the Contras. North also said Reagan knew about it.
So, did you know that Ronald Reagan was in the entertainment and show business? He was a movie actor. He was at one time the president of the Actors Guild, I think. So Hollywood was his friend. They just elected an actor to be president, and they was dealing in cocaine and weaponry. So when you look out in LA, what they working with out there, what the gang's working with. Dope and weapons. Now we got Tupac here, brother Tupac, in an interview. We're gonna show you how deep his mind is.
If God give me breath for 20 more years, I see myself changing the world. Because my thought patterns are so opposite of what's the norm.
Really?
So I would have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world.
How is it working with Suge and how do you think it's supposed to be able? And a lot of your East Coast fans feel like your new allegiance to the West Coast has felt, a lot of them feel maybe you're not as loyal to the East Coast anymore.
That's so nonsense. Poppycock. Because this is not a new allegiance to the West Coast. I've been on the West Coast all this time. It's just because some people, not all,
right,
some people on the East Coast be on their dick so hard that they never heard me say that I'm living on the West Coast.
Right.
It's just that by me keeping it real, I always said where I came from. I always gave New York their props.
So we want to establish this too. These two, Tupac and Nipsey, they think, they're visionaries, they think ahead, out the box, as they say. But they're from the hood, both of them from the hood, brothers that made it, and they always wanted to stay connected with the hood. They ran in the hood, did their business in the hood, but they wanted to lift the hood up. And they knew that to get the gangsters and the thug life dudes, if they was to unite and keep that underground economy within the hood instead of giving it back to the cracker, then instead of turning the people into dope fiends, thieves and hoes, they can keep that money and start buying up the hood, establishing legitimate business in the hood, using the entertainment money as resource. But see, one thing they didn't know, that you can't join with the establishment, take their money and put it back in your hood and try to lift them up, because it's cutting their money. It's cutting their money. See, check this out. Check this out.
I wanted my message to impact gang culture. You know what I'm saying? I wanted what I had to say to impact individuals like myself, young people that was in these areas that was controlled by gangbanging. I didn't want to preach to the choir, but I wanted to be able to say, I'm one of you, and where I'm gonna go, wherever I end up, you gonna know that you can end up there too. Whether it's at the top of the game or in a successful situation as a business owner, I came from this, and it's authentic, and I'm not.
Now we're connecting the dots now. But first you're going to connect the dots between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad all the way to Nipsey. Y'all got to relate to this. the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Farad Muhammad came to the Black Bottom up here in Detroit, into the hood, in the toughest neighborhood. Yeah, he was looking like a white man. But you know how y'all are. Y'all don't want to listen to the brothers, the black man, so y'all gonna always think the white man got the coldest water. So Master Farad had the coldest water. But he wasn't white. His old man was black. But he could pass for white. So everyone listened to him. Then he saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they raised up a little army, military style, spiritual organization called the Nation of Islam. The Black Panthers, Huey Newton, caught the drift, and he raised up the Black Panther Party. Female Shakur came from the Black Panther Party. She birthed Tupac. Tupac was trying to raise the gangs up. Y'all know this. Who else? Nipsy. His people come from over there in the motherland. Ethiopia and all that over there. Them the first brothers and sisters. Egypt, Ethiopia, Somalia, all them brothers got the same bloodline. So it's they people that rose the pyramids. You see? The first spiritual system. You see? They over here. We all over here. From whatever tribe you came from, we've been over here, stomping over here before. When the Caucasian was in caves, we was over here building pyramids over here, building mounds over here. So before time runs out, the Vatican, they the ones that got all the knowledge in the basement. You got to be special to get down there where them books at. But the military is in the United States of America. They the ones that controls the flow of dope, the guns, and they regulate. To be continued. We connecting these dots. Hope we ain't moving too fast for you.